Look, these price increases are getting out of control and I don't think they're going to stop anytime soon. So if you've had your eyes on a Steam Deck OLED, you should buy one now. After that, I looked at all the big games coming out in the first half of 2026 and made a list of games that I think you should add to your wish list because I think they'll run well on the Steam Deck and the Steam Machine. How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is Deck Ready, my channel all about Steam hardware. I hope you had a great Christmas and a great New Year. I hope 2026 is starting off strong for you. I finally started playing Baldur's Gate 3. I love this new Steam Deck version. Of course, Stranger Things and the whole D&D vibe got me, in the spirit to play Baldur's Gate 3 because sometimes you just need that little motivational kick to get into a game you know is going to be great. But yeah, let me know what you've been playing. Let me know what you got for Christmas down in the comments below. Let's get into the first news story here and talk about price increases. So we're all up to date on the great memory shortage of 2025 and now 2026. RAM and SSDs are going to be expensive for the foreseeable future because there's not enough people making them and all these AI companies are buying up the parts, which is of course ratcheting up the price. But we were warned last year that this would start affecting GPUs and it has already started, and it is even crazier than I assumed it would be. So a couple of days ago, a report came out that Nvidia and AMD were going to start raising the price by thousands of dollars every single month for their high-end cards. So for AMD, that would be the 9000 series, so like the 9060 XT, the 9060, the 9070 XT. I don't even know if they make a 9070, but any of those 9000 series cards, they were going to get big price increases over 2026. As far as AMD goes, I don't think those have started yet, but Nvidia, their 50 series cards were going to start getting price increases, and the 5090 was expected to go up by like $2,000 or $3,000, and that's already started. At the time I'm recording this video, I think it's up to like $4,000 for a 5090 GPU, and it's rising all the time, and people who are ordering them for like $3,500 are having their orders canceled, and then they have to reorder it at a higher price. So that is a huge disaster. So not only is this situation bad, it's going to continue to get worse as 2026 goes on. I don't foresee this getting resolved within even this year. Hopefully it does, but who knows how this is going to shake out. The problem is it's not just us competing with AI data centers to get these parts. It's also companies like Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, and of course Valve, who are not only competing with us, the general consumer, to get these parts, but also competing with each other. And then of course they're competing with AI data centers. The fact of the matter is there's just far too much demand for far too few parts out there right now. So if you look at the situation, I think it's inevitable that prices go up on everything. Thankfully, Valve has been pretty good about this, like holding off price increases. They of course just killed off the Steam Deck LCD, and I think a lot of people are looking at that as connected to the memory shortage. But the way I saw it was, maybe they had a big batch of Steam Deck LCDs that they started production on back when the Steam Deck OLED came out, because they did switch it, right? Like they introduced a new SSD, and I'm pretty sure it was using that new 6nm chip that they put in the Steam Deck OLED. Regardless, I think they ran out of that original shipment, and the memory shortage caused them to look at the situation and say, this thing's not selling all that well. We think the OLED is better, so we're just going to kill off the Steam Deck LCD. Other than that, both the LCD and the OLED were out of stock for like a week or two in the middle of last year. Valve came out and said it was because of supply chain issues. They didn't know how long it was going to last, but it ended up only lasting around a little over a week. And then since then, the Steam Deck OLED has been in stock and for the regular price. But if they run out of Steam Deck OLEDs, I mean, they've really got two options. One of them is kill off the Steam Deck OLED, which I really don't think they'd ever consider because, they talked about it a lot in the new Steam hardware video. So that leaves the second possibility, which is a price increase on the Steam Deck OLED. And I know a lot of people have had their eye on the Steam Deck OLED because whether it's in the comments on my videos or on my Instagram reels or on my YouTube shorts or even on Twitter, people are telling me that they've had their eyes on a Steam Deck OLED and they're just waiting for some nebulous reason to pick one up. I just got to put it in plain English. Whether you're someone who has a Steam Deck LCD and you've been considering upgrading to the Steam Deck OLED, or you're someone who doesn't have a Steam Deck and you want to get a Steam Deck OLED, buy it now before the price goes up or the supply drops. Because if they run out of Steam Deck OLEDs, they could be in a spot where they have to put them out of stock for a while they wait for the parts to collect, where they can get them at a reasonable price and start selling it again at the current price level. Like if they want to keep it at the current price that they're at, which I think is fair and good relative to literally every other PC handheld out there, if they run out of them, they're going to have to just wait, or they're going to have to increase the price. So any way you look at it, if you want a Steam Deck OLED, you should just buy a Steam Deck OLED. And this even goes for people who are looking at the Legion Go S. It is really good. in terms of performance. And at the time of recording this video, you can still get the sale price of $649 from some retailers. If you have your eyes on that thing and you want a really good SteamOS capable device, pick that up while you still can at the current price level, because whether it's a Switch 2, a PS5, a Steam Deck, anything, I think the prices are going to go up. I don't want to be a doomer or a black pillar, so when it comes to the Steam Machine, I'm choosing to believe that they will release it in the window that they suggested at a good price that makes everyone happy, but after that launch period, they'll have to address it at that point in time. The good thing is it's using relatively cheap parts to everything else. So, you know, while it might be a little more expensive after a while than people want it to be, if you look at the competition like a PS5, PS5 Pro, Switch 2, ROG Ally X, any other device out there, those prices are going to scale up as well in line with whatever the Steam Machine raises its price to, however long it takes for that to happen. I've seen a theory floated around that a lot of these price increases are like a nefarious scheme by the hardware manufacturers to get people to use cloud streaming, and then right after that started to take hold, they put a limit on NVIDIA GeForce Now that caps you at 100 hours a month. And while that seems like a lot of hours, if you play a game like Fortnite on your Steam Deck through GeForce Now, or you play Grand Theft Auto Online through GeForce Now, hitting 100 hours in a month is totally feasible for a lot of people out there. And if you're watching this channel, I would guess you're probably one of the people who puts at least 100 hours a month into gaming on whatever devices you have. So I'm choosing not to believe that theory, because I will never be someone who just streams all my games. I need a device in my life that can run games natively, and if we get to the point where cloud stuff replaces all of that, I will do whatever I have to do to keep my Steam Deck running as long as possible to play the games that I bought the way I want to play them. That's just the kind of person I am, and I don't like a future where everything is streamable from the cloud. So yeah, things are looking pretty rough right now in terms of prices, and unfortunately, I don't think they're going to get better anytime soon. So I just wanted to do this PSA style news story and just tell you, if you've had your eyes on a Steam Deck, now is the time to buy one. If you want a Steam Machine, do what you have to do to make sure you get one at launch, because I think that's the best price it's ever going to be. But that brings me to the second segment of today's video, which is a few games from my wish list that I'm excited to play on Steam Deck in 2026, starting out with I Hate This Place. Apparently this is a video game adaptation of a comic book I've never heard of, but I played the demo during the last Next Fest and I thought it was a lot of fun. It's like an adult-oriented Stranger Things. That's the easiest way to describe it. Something really cool about it is that when you walk on different surfaces, you see the sounds animate as text because it's comic book inspired, and the monsters in the game can only hear but not see, so like the stealth is actually pretty tense. The demo sets itself at medium settings and it runs at like 40 FPS. It did have some drops, but that demo is pretty old, so hopefully by the time it comes out they fix the performance issues, because I'm really interested in playing the rest of this game. The next two spots are DLC. So the first DLC I'm looking forward to in January is for World War Z. I went and downloaded this game on my Steam Deck. I cannot believe how well this game performs. You set it to Vulkan, medium preset, you get locked 40 FPS and it feels great to play on the deck. The coolest thing is, even if you're playing online, which I did for hours, this game sips battery. I don't know what black magic Saber Interactive has cooked up in their studio, but this is like a showcase of what can be done on the Steam Deck. And it's getting Walking Dead DLC sometime in January, and they're switching the zombies from like the super fast piling up World War Z movie zombies to walkers from the Walking Dead TV show. And the skins they're adding are perfect. You get Michonne with the katana, you get Rick with the 44 Magnum, you get Negan, of course, with Lucille, and then you get Daryl Dixon with his crossbow. They've got an Alexandria level, they've got Herschel's Farm, they've got the prison. I don't know what they're charging or when this comes out, but I am buying it day one. If you have this game, try it out on the Steam Deck because it's awesome. Dead by Daylight's getting Stranger Things Chapter 2 DLC, so my buddies and I all re-downloaded it. This game runs amazing on the Steam Deck. If you set it to Ultra, you're at 40 FPS. If you set it to high, you're at 50, so you could set it to 45 on the Steam Deck OLED. Regardless, this is a great multiplayer game to just sink hours into when you've got nothing to play. I've been having a ton of fun with it. I have like every DLC because every time they go on sale, I catch up and buy the DLC I don't have. It's like an addiction. So yeah, the Stranger Things DLC I think comes out January 6th, so I will be playing that. I'm cautiously recommending Romeo's a Dead Man. This is the new game from Grasshopper Manufacturer because like looking at it, it looks like it should run just fine on the Steam Deck, but if you've ever played a game from them, you know that that it's a total crapshoot on whether or not it's a good port or a game that runs well. Who knows? I played No More Heroes 3 on the Nintendo Switch and it ran horribly, but I still loved it. So I wanted to include that game on this list. Resident Evil 9, I'm crossing my fingers for it, running as good as the other Resident Evils on the Steam Deck. They did say they don't foresee performance problems like they have in Monster Hunter Wilds and Dragon's Dogma 2, but you know, I trust Capcom. I love Capcom. I gotta wait and see. But if you look at every other Resident Evil game and Devil May Cry 5 and Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter World, all of those work fine. So like, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I would love to do my second playthrough on the Steam Deck, but the first one is reserved for my big screen OLED because it's a new Resident Evil. I got to get the best experience possible. Speaking of World War Z, the combo game that Saber's been working on for years between that and SnowRunner, John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, comes out on March 12th, the week after my birthday. I'm so excited for it. Steam Deck HQ got to preview this game at Summer Game Fest and they said it actually runs really well on the Steam Deck. So for a multiplayer grindy game like this, perfect for the Steam Deck. So excited for this game. Add it to your wish list. I cannot wait to play it. Going back to Capcom though, on April 24th, Pragmata releases. This game's demo runs phenomenally on the Steam Deck. Every demo that Digital Foundry has seen has been running flawlessly. They've taken enough time to actually finish this game. It was announced a long time ago, so I'm excited for a new IP from Capcom. Diablo 4's expansion, Lord of Hatred, comes out April 28th. I know everyone hates on this game, but it's always in the top 100 most played games on the Steam Deck. I've been having a ton of fun with the new season, so it might be worth pre-ordering the new expansion to get the new class. I'm not telling you to do it, but I feel like it was worth it after a few hours of playing. And finally, my friends Jake Baldino and Mr. Matty Plays Swear by Lego Batman, which comes out on May 29th. If the performance of the Skywalker Saga Lego game is anything to go by, I think this one's going to look and run just fine on the Steam Deck. But that's a pretty varied list of huge games that are coming out in the first half of 2026. I'm sure some indie games will come up and you know you'll hear about them here on the channel, but that's what I'm looking forward to on deck and eventually machine so far. And finally, here's my quick review of Stranger Things 5. The first 7 episodes had some great moments, like, you know, Steve and Dustin fighting it out and getting back together. Steve is the main character of the show for me. I love him so much. He's like one of my all-time favorite characters. And then there's a lot of other moments that were not great in that season, like, you know, spending most of the time with Holly was a weird decision. Relying on lore from the stage show was also weird. I didn't really get that choice, but then they tied it all together with the finale, which I thought was absolutely phenomenal. I don't think I've ever really seen a better last episode of a show, and the way that you know a last episode is good is if you go restart the entire series. Like if a last episode doesn't give you closure, you'll sit there with a mental state that's like waiting for a new season that'll never come. I immediately wanted to restart Stranger Things after the finale, so that's how I know it's good. It was so good, in fact, that I called an audible, and instead of ordering a Lego car set like I usually do around Christmas, I get one Lego a year. It's usually a car. I ordered the Creel house to go next to my Stranger Things Upside Down set that's been there since I started this channel. I'm just so bummed it's over. It's always been one of my favorite shows. Going back to my first job in LA, I worked at an ad agency where one of our clients was Netflix. I ran the Twitter for a bunch of Netflix shows for a while, and that was really fun, but we had access to Netflix's back end to watch screeners and also trailers for stuff that hadn't been announced yet. One day I was bored, so I just went through all the trailers, and like 3 months before it was announced, I found the trailer for Stranger Things, and I was like, wow, this show is going to be good. So I waited and waited. It showed up on the screener site eventually. So before it even came out, I had finished the show and I loved it. So yeah, I watched it when it eventually released with my wife, who is then my girlfriend. And ever since then, it's been something I really look forward to. So I'm bummed it's over, but I'm excited to see what the Duffer Brothers do next, and I'm glad they stuck the landing. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you in today's video. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and shape on.